The bus rolled through the mist like a coffin on wheels, creaking, groaning, its headlights swallowed by the dense grey curtain that clung to the trees. 30 high school students from Crestwood Academy sat inside, half asleep, half bored, all counting the hours until their 3-day nature treat would be over. It was supposed to be a team-building trip, a chance for students to reconnect with nature before graduation, but no one could shake the sense that something about this trip was off. Their destination was the Dark Woods Resort, an old mountain lodge deep in the forest, once a thriving ski getaway, now reopened after being closed for over 2 decades. The teachers said the school had gotten a special deal, but no one knew why the place had been shut down for so long. The bus driver, an old man with cracked hands and eyes too tired to be trusted, hadn't said a word since they left the highway. The GPS had lost signal an hour ago, and the deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to close around them, trees growing denser, taller, darker, as though the woods themselves didn't want them there. By the time they saw the sign, most of the students were already restless. The letters were half rotted, dangling by the nails, coated in moss. The Dark Woods Resort, established in 1973. Someone had spray painted over the bottom line in dripping red paint, "Don't stay after dark." The teachers, Mr. Howard and Miss Lacey, laughed it off. Probably kids messing around, they said. But a few of the students exchanged nervous looks, especially some Torres, quiet, observant, the kind of kid who noticed things that others didn't. He had been filming bits of the trip on his phone for a school project, and when he replayed the video of that sign later that night, he would swear he had seen something behind the static. A voice whispering his name. The resort itself sat at the end of a narrow dirt road, hidden in a clearing that looked untouched by time. 3 main cabins, a dining hall, a small lake behind them. The wood was warped and dark, as though the buildings had been drenched in shadow instead of water. Still, the teachers insisted it was safe. They checked everyone into their assigned cabins, handed out flashlights, and gave the usual talk about sticking together. That night, the rain didn't stop. Around midnight, the power went out. The students thought it was funny at first, telling ghost stories by flashlight, daring each other to step outside. But one by one, their laughter died down, because they started hearing it. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, deliberate footsteps circling the cabin. Someone or something walking just outside the windows. Sam pressed his phone to the glass, recording through the rain-sticked window. The footage was blurry, but in the corner, for a single frame, there was a shape. A man. Standing completely still among the trees, watching them. When he showed the clip to the others the next morning, they laughed it off. Could have been the groundskeeper, someone said. Except there wasn't supposed to be a groundskeeper. No one had seen another living soul since they arrived. And when Mr. Howard tried to call for help, he realized none of their phones had signal. Not even the walkie-talkies worked anymore. It was like the forest had swallowed the airwaves. That evening, Miss Lassie gathered up the group in the dining hall for dinner. The lights flickered, running on a backup generator. On the far wall, a collection of framed photos showed the resort back in its glory days. Families smiling, children playing by the lake. But Sam noticed something strange about them. In every photo, standing somewhere in the background, sometimes in shadow, sometimes by the trees, was that same man. Pale, expressionless, always facing the camera. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. When he woke to the sound of footsteps again, this time closer, he realized they weren't coming from outside. They were coming from inside the cabin. When Sam opened his eyes, the room was dark. The kind of dark that feels thick, heavy, like it's pressing against your skin. His flashlight had rolled off the bed. He could hear breathing. Not his own, just beyond the bank. Slow, deep, steady. He whispered, "Jack!" His cabin mate. No answer. Then something shifted on the floor. He sat up, scanning the room with his phone light. The beam caught Jack's empty bed. Sheets pulled back, pillow still warm. And then, just for a second, he saw movement near the door. A shape, crouched low, like something crawling. When he blinked, it was gone. The door creaked open by itself. The next morning, Jack was gone. His bag was still there. His phone, his shoes. No one had seen him leave. Mr. Howard called it a prank. Said Jack probably wandered to one of the other cabins to scare people. But when they searched the grounds, they found something behind cabin 4. Footprints in the mud. Bare feet, leading from the door straight into the woods. And beside them, a second pair of prints, longer, deeper, not human. That night, half of the students refused to sleep. The teachers promised they would drive everyone back the next morning, generator or no generator. But the bus driver was gone too. The bus itself was still parked in the clearing. Keys in the ignition, engine cold, but no sign of him. Only his cap lying on the driver's seat, soaked in something dark. Some students swore they saw figures in the woods, pale faces moving between the trees, whispering their names. Others said they heard tapping on the cabin walls at night, like fingernails scraping the wood from inside. Miss Lassie tried to keep everyone calm, but she wasn't sleeping either. Sam saw her standing by the window at 3 a.m., staring at the lake, whispering to someone who wasn't there. On the morning of the third day, she was gone too. Her bed untouched, her phone missing. And on the dining hall table, scratched into the wood like a knife, he's waking up. By the time the sun rose, the students had barricaded themselves in the dining hall. Mr. Howard was pacing, muttering something about how this all was his fault. Sam confronted him. "What do you mean?" Mr. Howard looked at him with hollow eyes and said, "This isn't the first time this place has taken people." He told them the truth, or at least part of it. The Darkwoods Resort had been closed in 1998 after a school trip just like theirs. 30 students, 2 teachers, none of them ever came back. The official report said they had vanished during a storm, but locals told a different story, that the woods had always been cursed, that there was something underneath the resort. A foundation older than the buildings, a network of tunnels carved into the rock long before the resort was built. No one knew who built them or why they were sealed off. That night, Sam couldn't stop thinking about it. He left the dining hall while the others slept, following the old trail toward the lake. The water was still, reflecting the trees like black grass, and on the far side, he saw light, a flickering orange glow like fire. As he got closer, he realized it wasn't fire, it was lanterns, hanging from branches, dozens of them. Beneath the lanterns stood people, not students, not staff. Faces pale as wax, eyes black and empty, mouths open in silent screams. Their clothes were tattered, old, out of time. And in the middle of them, standing motionless, was Jake. Eyes wide, face blank, whispering something Sam couldn't hear. The ground beneath Sam cracked. Mud gave way to rotting wood, and he fell through the soil into the darkness. Sam landed hard on wet earth. The air down there was colder, older. He sat up slowly, shining his phone light around. It was a basement. It was a tunnel, long, narrow, and carved directly into the rock. The walls were covered in old markings, symbols scratched deep into the stone, circles, crosses, spiral shapes that seemed to shift when his light passed over them. In the distance, he could hear something. Then, a voice, faint, familiar. "Sam, help me." He followed the voice down the tunnel. Each step echoed like it was being swallowed by the earth. The deeper he went, the more he noticed. The markings weren't carved into the rock. They were burned. The tunnel opened into a large chamber. There were dozens of candles, melted into the ground, long dead. And in the center, a massive wooden door, half-rotted, chained shut. On it, scrawled in something dark, "He sleeps beneath." The voice came again, clearer now. "You have to wake him up." It was Jake's voice, but it wasn't him. Sam could tell. There was something behind the words, something trying to sound human, but missing the rhythm, the warmth. He took a step back, and the door moved. Just slightly, enough for a cold rush of air to escape, carrying a smell that made his stomach twist. A smell like rot and iron and something ancient. He turned to run, but the tunnel behind him wasn't empty anymore. Shadows moved along the walls, stretching taller, reaching for him. And then he heard them. The voices of his classmates, whispering from the dark. "Join us, Sam. It is so quiet here. He promised us peace." Sam ran. The tunnel twisted and branched, left, right, up and down, until he wasn't sure which way he had come. The phone battery icon blinked red. 5%, then 4, then 3. As the light dimmed, he saw something ahead, a set of stairs leading up. He sprinted towards them, tripped fell and slammed his shoulder into something wooden. He pushed it open and stumbled into a basement room. The floor was lined with old photos, all of them from the resort's earlier years. Smiling faces, families, kids. Only now, each face had been cut out. Every photo, the eyes and the mouths carefully removed, replaced with a black smudge that bled through the paper like ink. In the corner, something moved. Sam turned the light towards it and froze. It was Miss Lassie. Her clothes were soaked, her skin pale, her eyes completely black. "You shouldn't have come down here," she said. Her voice was soft, almost kind. "He's almost awake." Then she smiled. Her jaw cracked unnaturally wide, skin tearing along her cheeks, revealing something moving underneath. Sam screamed, and his phone went dark. He didn't remember how long he was unconscious. When he woke, he was back in the dining hall. The fire was lit. The remaining students were sitting in a circle, faces blank, whispering in unison. The words made no sense, a language that scraped the air like broken glass. Mr. Howard was standing over them, eyes wide, whispering the same thing. "He's here now." Sam tried to back away, but the floor beneath him moved. The boards flexed. Something beneath the resort was breathing. And then the floor split. A crack ran the length of the room, spilling black water and the stench of rot. From the darkness below, something began to rise. Not a creature, not exactly. More like a shape, made of shifting shadows and wet roots, twisting together into a face. Not human, not animal, just hungry. The students didn't run. They just turned towards it, one by one, and began walking forward, smiling, as if they had been waiting for this moment. Sam was the only one who fought, crawling towards the door, gasping for air as the thing in the floor rose higher, filling the room with its whisper. He made it outside, into the pouring rain. The woods were alive, trees bending towards him, roots pushing up through the soil like hands. The cabins were burning, and when he looked back at the resort, he saw faces in the window. The faces of his classmates, grinning, whispering his name one last time. 2 weeks later, a search team found the bus, empty. The resort was gone, burned to the ground. Nothing left but ash and a single phone, half buried near the lake. The footage on it was corrupted. Only one clip could be recovered. It showed the group arriving at the resort, laughing, joking. And then, a frame of static, and the final image, the entire group standing outside the cabins, smiling at the camera. Except one thing was wrong. Sam wasn't holding the phone anymore. He was in the picture, standing with the others, eyes black, and behind them, in the tree line, something huge was smiling back. If you ever drive through the northern ridge near Crestwood and you see a sign for a place called the Darkwoods Resort, do yourself a favor, keep driving, because some places don't stay closed. He never sleeps.